In this video, I'm going to share with you the 6 lessons that I learned overcoming cancer and getting into the best shape of my life, achieving sub 10% body fat and achieving fitness levels that I hadn't seen in years. And look, I'm going to be honest with you here. My intention is not to motivate you. I'm not going to be talking about the best diet plan or the best training program, because my intention is that you'll come away with more clarity around why perhaps things that you've tried up to now haven't worked, but to give you the principles that you can actually implement straight away. I don't hear any other fitness coach talk about this. And overcoming cancer taught me lessons about health, fitness, nutrition, training, and lifestyle that I otherwise would never have learned. So if you've ever tried to get in shape before, but you either couldn't get there or you couldn't sustain your results, then this video is for you. And I'm also going to share with you the STL roadmap, which is our season to lifestyle roadmap that we use with our clients to map out their fat loss phase, their reverse phase, and their lifestyle phases so they can achieve the best shape of their lives and sustain it, instead of just giving you another high protein recipe or a training plan that you'll never use. It's free and the link is in the description. So let's get into the lessons. So in my experience, most people are way too patient when it comes to starting, and then way too impatient when it comes to seeing results. Some people might wait 6 months before they think about starting a gym, but then after 4 weeks of seeing no change in their body shape, or maybe because the scale weight hasn't changed, they want to give up. You see, most people are spending their patience in the wrong place. And if we're being honest, more often than not, when we end up in a place where we're not happy with how we look and feel, it hasn't happened in weeks or even months. It's more often years. And I personally had to learn this lesson firsthand. When my body was trying to recover from 8 weeks of intensive chemotherapy and then 6 months of twice daily blood thinning injections because I had a clot in my lung, I had to be super patient about letting my body recover. This is why I set the goal of being in the best shape of my life 5 years from when treatment finished, because that was an important date for my oncology team. And because of this expectation, I honestly believe this gave me an advantage. This helped me to get in the best shape of my life, because I wasn't trying to get there as quickly as possible. I was trying to get there in a way that was healthy, that was sustainable, that was going to last me for the rest of my life. So you can't force how quickly your body changes, at least not as an everyday person like me with kids, responsibilities, and life pressures that we all have. But you can choose how fast you start. Second lesson I learned is what I like to call the gap. So when the distance between where you want to go and where you actually are now feels too distant, your brain reads that as a threat. And this triggers a stress response, the same chemistry that helps you survive a real threat. The problem is that your system can't tell the difference between a real life threat and a goal that just feels too far away. And so your motivation breaks down right before you build any momentum. And the problem is that most people blame themselves for this and just say, I'm not disciplined enough. And the gap shows up in 3 ways. The first is a timeline, where the journey between where you are and where you want to go just feels way too far. The second is recency. This is where it feels like it's too late to start. And the third is magnitude. This is where the goal itself just feels way too big to accomplish. And I experienced this firsthand myself. Like I said, I set myself a goal of getting in the best shape of my life in 5 years from where I was. That's a long time. But I knew along the way, I needed to set some milestones. I needed to reverse engineer where I wanted to go. And that's exactly what I did. So I knew I needed to stack skills and knowledge, and I need to implement them in almost like day-type compartments. But the real power comes when you start taking action, because that drastically reduces that stress response. And slowly but surely, you start to build belief that you can actually achieve this. And if any of this is starting to resonate with you, I want to give you a free resource. It's our STL roadmap, our season to lifestyle roadmap. It's the exact same one that we use with our clients to help them map out their fat loss phase, the reverse out phase, and their lifestyle phase, the 3 most important components of getting in shape and then staying there. And more importantly, it helps you to map out those phases around your social events so you don't undo all your progress. It's free and the link is in description, and it'll be the top pinned comment as well. And I'll send it to your inbox straight away. Now on to lesson 3. So lesson 3 is to focus on data and health first, and the aesthetics will follow. Unfortunately, when it comes to getting leaner, most people rely solely on their body weight as the only measure of progress. And the problem with this is that you can get caught in a stop-start loop, because if you're emotionally attached to a number on the scale, it's going to wreak havoc with how you approach those days where it spikes up. And it usually leads to one of 2 things. You start thinking that you need to go harder, or you lose belief and you quit. Nothing about that sounds healthy. And if you want to get fit and look great, focus on a healthy body first. We want to think about having a scientific approach to our health, to our fitness, to our fat loss process. We want to think about tracking trends over time and using a lot more metrics than just body weight, such as body measurements, progress photos, how your clothes are fitting, fitness markers like rest and heart rate, blood pressure, and even blood markers. And then you let the trend inform what your next move needs to be, not the number on the scales. And I experienced this firsthand myself. After chemotherapy, I had to do a lot of work on getting my gut health back into a good place. I had to do a lot of work on making sure my sleep returned to normal quality. And if I based my progress solely off how I looked in the mirror or how the body weight scales moved, I would have given up within the first couple of weeks. Now, lesson 4 is to focus on skills over plans. Every fitness coach seems to want to sell you a program or a plan. It'll have the macros, the protein recipes, the training program, the weekly breakdown. But the moment you get sick, or one of your kids gets the flu and you're going on 4 hours sleep, or you have to work 80 hours to get that work project across the deadline, or you go away on holidays, the whole plan falls apart. And again, you'll probably blame yourself for not being disciplined or not following through. But the problem with plans is that they almost assume that nothing will go wrong. Whereas it's the implementation of the plan that matters. Because life always goes wrong. And that's not to be pessimistic. I say it all the time to our clients. It's realistic. So the people who are able to get in shape and stay in shape for decades, they don't rely on plans. They're the people with the skills to be able to adapt to life's challenges. And I learned this recovering from cancer and getting back to the best shape of my life. I knew I needed to be able to read menus when I was eating out and having date night with my wife. I knew that I need to be able to go away on holidays and enjoy myself and not worry about undoing my progress. I also knew I needed to learn the skill of how to properly recover and de-stress, which is something that most people never think about. And nowadays, the litmus test for me is, can I teach this to my child? Because if I can, it's a skill. And once you learn a skill, nobody can ever take it away from you. Lesson 5 is that your health is a shared asset. Now, I know this might sound strange, but stay with me here. The people who love you, your spouse, your kids, your family, they can end up paying for your health choices too. And I'm not saying it's today or tomorrow, but it's maybe down the line. And while my circumstances were slightly different in that my diagnosis came out of the blue, what I noticed was that it affected the people around me as much, if not more, than it actually affected me. And I think what affects the people around you the most when your health starts to break down is the feeling of helplessness that they feel. And I personally think this can be a really strong driver, more than any amount of motivation to get better for yourself, but to get better for the people around you. But there's massive upside as well, because not only are you staying healthy, you're improving the quality of your life, which then is going to improve the quality of life of people around you, because you're going to have more energy. You're probably going to be more fun to be around. You're going to be in better mood. You're going to see yourself with a lot more self-esteem, and that's going to rub off on the people around you. Lesson 6 is who you become. Now hold on with me here, because I'm personally allergic to woo-woo. But I remember first hearing about the concept of identity in James Clear's book, Atomic Habits. And he said that people who get in shape and stay there associate themselves with being the type of person who goes to the gym, who eats healthy. But at the time, it just felt like a bit of a slogan. It didn't really hit home for me. But then when I read into it more, I found a deeper layer underneath. It's called a cognitive model. You probably heard of it, cognitive behavioral therapy. And it states that your thoughts affect your beliefs and your beliefs dictate your actions. Now, where this really important is that if you've had previous attempts where you've failed to get in shape or really sustain it, then you may have built a belief that this is not going to work for you, which can then become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because when you start to take action, if you have the belief that this is not going to work out, you can often approach it half committed. And you end up in this loop of trying, failing, and just blaming yourself for lack of discipline, when really it's a deep-seated belief about how you see yourself. And so for me personally, overcoming cancer, the question I wanted to ask myself was that, who can I become through this? And that really helped me to reset my perspective of getting into the best shape of my life. But since then, becoming a father and possibly going through one of the most challenging periods of my life, which is adapting to having 2 kids. Because like I said earlier, you can have the best fitness plan in the world, but if you can't implement it, especially when life gets messy, then it's never going to work. But if you can change your thoughts, your beliefs, and your identity, then you can overcome those challenging weeks and not just get in great shape, but stay there for the rest of your life. So that's my 6 lessons. The STL roadmap is in the description and it'll be the top pinned comment. Don't forget to subscribe, because I'm going to be putting out a lot more of these videos on health and fitness, going deep on what it takes to get in shape and stay there, especially as somebody who's busy and got a family.